What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk about Virgin Galactic, ticker is SPCE. I want to give you a good breakdown of what happened on Friday, go over some of the data points, and just talk generally. Is this, based on Friday at least, going to be trending up, down, sideways? What is next? So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So based on Friday, it did go up 4.4%. So it's kind of a nice change of pace because over the last couple of weeks, it has been very hard, very solid, just downtrend because largely of their Q2 earnings, in my own opinion, and just the broader markets, especially about, I guess, tentatively interest rates raising. That, of course, is going to damage a lot of stocks as dependent on debt, such as Virgin Galactic. But beside the point, though, a fair amount of volume that was done on a Friday. So 21.9 million shares being traded, 18.56 is the average. Did still have a little bit of a low, so 264 is a low, 294 was the high. So a lot of volatility, but I'm going to touch on the technicals and what that meant. But based on Friday, this did come out. So more of an update on the SPAC case about misleading investors. I'm not really sure about the initial claims based on this, but it does look like a New York judge did remove some stuff. So it looks like they did remove certain claims from shareholder lawsuit that accused Virgin Galactic and its leaders of misleading about the commercial flight timeline. And in addition, it looks like the judge ruled that investors couldn't revive specific allegations and found insufficient pleading of claims of insider trading. So in reality, that's definitely a win-win in favor of Virgin Galactic, and that is why it did go up based on that. But beside the point, though, at the time of doing this video, there hasn't been any recent SEC filings, no press releases I haven't already covered in a previous video. So in reality, Virgin has been just trending down because of the broader market. There's a lot of fears, especially about Evergrande raising interest rates, which of course, raising interest rates is very damaging on a lot of stocks that is heavily reliant on debt and needing that money and needing capital. So Virgin Galactic is getting hit so much more because of that. And over and above that, to make things worse, their Q2 future guidance that they did give about Q3 and Q4 is just very, very poor. And this is why, again, if you are looking at, for instance, this kind of information, so the PS ratio, which usually I think after a company starts to first generate revenue, you can kind of look at this to see, is it fairly valued? Is it overpriced? Is it undervalued? A lot of things like that. And based on the PS ratio, currently it is 268.4, and then the future is 45.3. So very, very high in my opinion. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. But when it comes down to the price over book, that is at 2. So not too bad, but Virgin Galactic is in a very speculative sector. Of course, I think as far as the initial price, nobody necessarily knows what a fair market value is. Like, what can this ultimately achieve? And I think based on 2024 and onwards, there's a lot more optimism for Virgin Galactic. So this is why it's keeping this high PS ratio, because if this does go down to what a normal, like, I guess, tech company is, then that would be around the maybe 20 to 25, something like that. Sometimes, depending on what they're offering, a little bit higher. But if that is the case, then this would go down to sub $1. So once again, this is where a lot of people don't necessarily know where to price Virgin Galactic in. And of course, that is why you're also getting a lot of volatility, because if you're looking at a lot of the fib levels, like I indicated already, they're kind of spread out. So there is a fair gap. And when it comes down to those gaps, that does mean a lot of volatility. And even looking right here, so with it being at $2.85, it is currently between this S3 and this S2 on the 4-hour right here. So of course, when it comes down to that, 296 is that next big, very heavy resistance, and it kind of did bounce off of that, so that it kind of touched that and trended down a little bit. But 270, it did temporarily break that based on Friday, and also I think the following day or prior day as well. But when it comes down to Virgin Galactic, you really, really want to watch this $2.70 mark to hold. And based on this news that did come out, again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not really sure what the initial claims were, but in my opinion, I don't feel that this does change anything as far as on a broader scale. This might just help as far as maybe a couple million or several hundred million. I'm not really sure about the initial claim and what they're seeking, but ultimately though, I feel like this is just more of a temporary one-off. And when it comes down to some of the other data, if you're looking right here I think the data is kind of saying the same thing. Based on Friday, which of course was at 4.4% green day, there was $372,000 in calls being purchased versus $463,000 in puts. So based on this, people are anticipating for it to trend down a little bit. So meaning that they feel that based on Friday, it was just a one-off kind of scenario. If you are optimistic though, this is all the calls, so this has all the strike prices, expiry dates. It is anticipated to go around the $3 range by, it looks like, the next week, potentially end of next week. So once again, kind of staying within this range a little bit, but when it comes down to it, you really want to watch those couple points like I mentioned, so 270 and 296. And as far as this, so these are some indicators that I like to look at. Number of retail investors are getting out, as you can tell based on the momentum indicator. Stochastic is currently at 7. There was a nice bump up based on Friday, so it does show a little bit more of a starting point of a bullish sentiment right now, but it is at 7. So if there is something that does fundamentally come out that is associated to their operation that hopefully will generate more revenue, something very positive, then this is where Virgin Galactic can definitely go up, and hopefully a lot of value investors will jump in based on that. And as far as that, like I mentioned, you also have to just take this with a grain of salt. So this 268.4, once again, I'm just cycling back to this because I don't want to portray this as a negative. Some people could see this as overvalued. I'm sure if you ask anyone, they'll say that's overvalued. But when it comes down to this sector, again, a lot of people don't necessarily know how to accurately price something in. Like, what is the future goals of Virgin Galactic? Like in 2024 and onwards, that is kind of what is up for debate a little bit. But as far as shorts, again, just moving on all over the place on this video, but my apologies. So as far as shorts and what they did on Friday, and at least what to know going into next week. So short score is currently 74, utilization is 81.26%. And just to put it in perspective on how much shorts are in Virgin Galactic, currently $163.78 million worth of shorts are out there. So pretty significant. But once again, looking here, 18.08% of the free float is being shorted, and that does work out to be 60.39 million shares overall are being shorted. And shorts did increase 395,000 shares on Friday. So once again, kind of analyzing this information, shorts increasing on a very green day shows that they do feel that is an overreaction. So you do have a couple data points all signaling that this is an overreaction, unfortunately. But who knows? There's a lot of things that could come out this week that might save the broader market, one of which is potentially just earnings. So of course, Nvidia is coming out Wednesday after hours. That might be the saving grace, similar to what has happened with Apple in the past. Cost to borrow average is currently 4.13%, so still not the best. And like I've mentioned in the past, I do not see Virgin Galactic being a short squeeze. I'm just bringing this up as far as a additional data point to really watch for. So let me know you guys' thoughts on all of that in the comments below. So give yourself a shout out as well in the comments below if you have been buying over this last little bit. Where do you guys, for instance, see things going? Do you think it's going to be touching maybe the low 2s, or do you think that we're going to reverse down or up to the $4 range? What's your kind of viewpoint on all of that? I personally would say that we're going to be touching the 250 range. So it's going to touch 250 and bounce off of that, because below, or anything below this right here, this S3, is going to be more whole numbers, psychological support levels. So more around the 250, $2 range. So I don't feel that it getting below 250 is justified given the circumstances in the market. So I feel that, in my opinion, who's just my own guess, I would feel that 250, it would bounce off of that and trend higher to potentially maybe mid 3s, and or depending what happens at the time. But still, let me know what you guys feel is a accurate price prediction for at least in the short term. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And take advantage of free promos. A couple days left with this one. So link in the description below and also the comments. Completely free to sign up for an account. But if you do sign up and you throw $100 at it, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, and you also get a $50 cash reward. So this is one of the best deals that you can get. Link in the description below and also the comments. And unfortunately, this is only available to Americans, so just be aware of that. But Moomoo is actually heading to Canada, so for those that are in Canada, you can actually sign up. They are doing a soft launch, so you can actually have access to the website. All you need is just a phone number. That is it. No other information. So you can sign up just using that, and then of course you can enter to win some gift cards, Tim's, Amazon, and stuff like that. So again, link in the description below and also the comments. With that said though, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's eventually make a lot of money on Virgin Galactic.